in the 1960s, what did we have? We had maybe depression. Now, 2013, we have all these diseases and conditions and mental behaviors that we've created. And what was ADHD when we were kids? It was shut up and do your homework. That's what it was. Or, man, you're hyper. Go outside and dig a hole. Why? Because. All right, so you go outside and dig a hole. And you come back in, you're exhausted. I mean, we're talking about there's so many factors. Diet, nutrition could not be at its poorest. Information overload. We take in more information in one 24-hour period than medieval times took in their entire lifetime. We take in that kind of information in 24 hours. You know, it's proven. I mean, and kids are playing iPods and iPads and iPhones, and they're just constantly taking stimulation and they're high in sugar, and so they're completely not balanced, and they go through these cycles, and kids are little shits and they're irritating because they have that type of a diet. And the problem with that is the parents today aren't coping the same way that they were 10, 15, 20 years ago, because parents' lives are busier. Matter of fact, I just read a statistic that showed that the average parent spends the average full-time working parent spends 19 minutes per day face-to-face, one-on-one time with their child, on average. The average person logs on to Facebook 21 and a half minutes a day. People spend more time on Facebook than they do with their children. That's messed up. And you start wondering why these children need attention. And then the only attention they get is negative, corrective attention. So then their behavior starts to mimic that. Then they start jumping on me. Huh, Spike, come on, Spike, what Spike, come on, Spike. Stop, enough. And then the parents can't cope with it. So what's the answer? Drug the child. So then we start giving these types of medication, and then all of a sudden they start becoming desensitized. And then when they start to become desensitized, they start becoming out of touch with the realities. And when they start becoming out of touch with the reality, they start having certain behaviors that are antisocial behaviors. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's proven that the statistic I read, you might be able to back me up on this because you know exactly what article I'm talking about, with the ADHD medications and the antidepressant medicines, it was like 67% reported suicidal behavior. The reality is there's something with mental instability that we're not addressing. And the problem is that we're creating a lot of these conditions, for one. For two, it's still not okay. Everyone's afraid. Nobody wants to be mentally wrong. And so there's this stigma that goes with mental problems that we're afraid to acknowledge. And the kids in schools, they don't want to go see the psychiatric nurse or the mental hospital or any of those things because there's a negative connotation that comes with that. You know, I think if you want to solve some of that issue, you got to make it mandatory. Every child should go every semester go see the psychiatric nurse, and every student has to go through that program for psychic evaluations and so on and so forth, so that we can help recognize that. Truth be told is, you know, I have 3 young children in the school system. I'm not afraid of guns. I'm afraid of all the medicated kids. There's so many. The percentage is ridiculously high. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that antisocial behavior, that they are losing touch with the reality. And people say, well, it's the video games. Sure, they can be comfortable killing, but there's no difference between the video games to reality. And it's not the video games that's causing that. It's not necessarily the guns that are causing that. It's that whole combination of where that behavior comes from and where it begins to develop from and how it stems, and then the attention of the parent, and the parent are not taking that same responsibility, and it goes to even more than that, and then the parents who do take responsibility are taking it in the wrong way. They're protecting their children. You know, like I said this story last year, about 5 or 6 years ago, there was in Texas, there was a child who was messing around on the school bus and got kicked off the bus because he was endangering the lives of the driver and the other kids. He was throwing things at the driver, so he got kicked off the bus. And the parents sued the school board for endangering their child by kicking him off the bus. What would have happened if I would have done that when I was a kid? You know, I mean, 30 years ago, my dad wouldn't have, I would have sat down. What was the first question he would have asked? What the hell did you do? He wouldn't have yelled at the bus driver and the school board. You know? And the problem is that we're teaching our kids how not to win. So everyone gets a participation ribbon. Everyone gets first place. We don't even teach them how to win and how to lose. And guess what? So we coddle them, and then we protect them, and then we put them in this world, and then we say, it's okay, and don't do this, don't say that to my kid. You can't say that. And then the soccer mom is a crazy bitch at the soccer field going, play my kid, do this, do that. Guess what? Life in real life is losers and winners. And unfortunately, there's more losers than people account for. And then what ends up happening is as we begin to develop these children, we don't teach them how to emotionally get that spectrum. You can't spank your kids, can't beat your kids. Guess what? I spank my kids. And I love them so much. And they get the spectrum of every part of the emotions. And that's what makes them special, gifted children. Because when you go one direction, guess what? People say, well, you can't do this, and you can't be hard on them, and you can't have the expectation, and you can't, raise your voice at them, and all of those things, because they can't handle it. Not true. The people who are on Jerry Springer with mental problems are there not because they were beat too much. They're there because they weren't loved. Period. That's what the human spirit cannot handle. It needs love. That's the only thing it needs. Everything else it can take, because that's the payoff that it's going for. And what happens is as people are growing through this society and we protect and humble, we can't do this, don't do that, don't say that, don't bully, don't do, I get it. There was bullying when we grew up, and we dealt with it, and we worked through it, and it was hard. Is it harder now? Yeah, maybe different. Every generation had its issue. But guess what? There's bullying in the workplace. Think of all the places you work with. There's an asshole in every group. It's just the way life is. And we have to learn how to be winners and losers, how to accept that, how to function. And when we protect our children, we can't function, and all of a sudden that kid asks the girl to the dance, and she says, no, you're a loser, and he's never been able to handle rejection because he's been coddled his whole entire life. He snaps. He's on the medication. He has no emotional ability and stability in order to handle these situations. He hasn't had a conversation with an adult figure in his life in probably 4 years that talk about emotions and talk about things at the dinner table and say that it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to do all these things. And how are you going to work through that and actually get some mentorship from somebody who is actually responsible and has the care to be able to listen to them. And when that begins to happen, you begin to be able to function like a human being on a full spectrum of emotions.